Did you know that in just a matter of minutes, a region already steeped in decades of conflict was thrust into an even deeper crisis? One that could redefine the future of the Middle East forever? In the early hours of a tense April morning in 2025, hundreds of missiles launched from Iran streaked across the sky, targeting multiple strategic points across Israel. But Tel Aviv, Israel's bustling economic and cultural heart, bore the brunt of this unprecedented and highly coordinated assault. This wasn't just another flare-up. This was retaliation on a scale the world hasn't witnessed in years. A deadly and highly symbolic strike in response to a series of provocative actions that had been escalating behind closed doors for months. Stay with us as we take you deep into this unfolding story, unpacking the reasons, reactions, and implications for regional and global security. The missile barrage, which Israeli defense officials have called the most significant single-day assault on their territory in modern times, reportedly involved over 300 projectiles. Launched from Iranian territory, as well as from allied groups in Syria and southern Lebanon, the attack overwhelmed the Iron Dome defense system in a way not seen before. While Israel's advanced missile shield intercepted a significant number of incoming threats, many missiles still made it through, striking residential buildings, a power grid, military installations, and major highways in Tel Aviv and its outskirts. Dozens were reported dead, with hundreds more injured, sparking fear, chaos, and a flurry of emergency responses throughout central Israel. For many Israelis, this day marked a turning point, a stark reminder that the relative stability of recent years could vanish in a matter of hours. But why now? Iran's bold response was rooted in a chain of highly sensitive events that unfolded in early 2025. According to intelligence leaks and regional analysts, Israel had launched a covert airstrike in late March targeting a high-ranking Iranian military commander stationed in Damascus. Iran viewed this as a deliberate act of war and a breach of international norms. While the Israeli government neither confirmed nor denied responsibility, Iranian leaders vowed a decisive and proportionate response. For weeks, satellite images showed increased Iranian military activity near the Iraqi border, as well as heightened communications between Tehran and proxy groups across the region. The world watched with bated breath, expecting a reaction, but no one anticipated such a large-scale, direct assault. Tehran's official response framed the missile strike as a legitimate act of defense. In a fiery televised address, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei stated, "The Zionist regime must understand that its actions carry consequences. The era of impunity is over." He claimed that Iran had warned the world repeatedly about Israeli incursions into sovereign territory, and that restraint could no longer be misinterpreted as weakness. The statement was broadcast across Iranian state media and rapidly disseminated across social platforms worldwide, where it was met with polarized reactions, praise from some Arab populations and condemnation from Western leaders. Israel's prime minister, in a press conference held just hours after the attack, declared that the nation was under siege, and vowed to retaliate with unprecedented force. Military reserves were mobilized, airstrikes were authorized on Iranian-linked targets in Syria, and the Knesset convened an emergency session to discuss the invocation of full-scale war powers. The Israeli Defense Forces (IDF) began a rapid escalation of countermeasures, targeting Hezbollah strongholds in southern Lebanon and alleged Quds force facilities in Iraq. The IDF's retaliatory airstrikes lit up the night skies in multiple regional capitals, igniting fears of a broader war that could engulf the entire Middle East. The global response was swift and divided. The United States, a long-standing ally of Israel, issued a strong statement condemning Iran's actions as reckless and escalatory, while simultaneously calling for restraint on both sides. President Harris deployed additional naval assets to the eastern Mediterranean as a deterrent and offered military support to protect Israeli infrastructure. Meanwhile, Russia and China, two nations with complex ties to Tehran, urged for immediate de-escalation and warned that the West's military buildup in the region could exacerbate the crisis. European leaders from France, Germany, and the UK called for an emergency UN Security Council meeting, which was quickly convened but yielded no unified action due to conflicting interests among the permanent members. On the ground, civilians in Tel Aviv faced a nightmare scenario. Videos posted on social media showed massive fireballs rising over the skyline, cars set ablaze, emergency sirens wailing non-stop, and terrified families sheltering in underground bunkers. Hospitals reported severe shortages of blood supplies and trauma staff, as casualties continued to pour in. Schools were closed indefinitely, and the Ben Gurion International Airport halted all flights, with runways damaged and foreign airlines rerouting planes away from Israeli airspace. The psychological toll was immediate, a mix of grief, panic, and disbelief that the war many feared for years had finally arrived. This violent episode also marks a turning point in regional diplomacy. Peace accords signed in previous years, such as the Abraham Accords that brought Israel closer to the UAE and Bahrain, are now being tested. Some Gulf states, while condemning the violence, have opted to remain neutral, fearing internal backlash and regional destabilization. Jordan, which shares a border with both Israel and Syria, has placed its military on high alert. Meanwhile, Iraq's fragile government, already struggling with political unrest, finds itself caught in the middle, torn between Iranian influence and U.S. pressure. As of now, multiple Arab League members have called for a summit to address the crisis, though consensus on a unified stance remains elusive. What makes this situation even more dangerous is the possibility of further escalation by Iran's allies, particularly Hezbollah and the Houthis. Analysts warn that a multi-front war could quickly spiral out of control, drawing in other nations and potentially disrupting vital global oil supply routes. Already, crude oil prices have spiked above $120 per barrel, with stock markets across Asia, Europe, and North America experiencing volatility. Airlines have suspended routes over the region, and global tourism into the Middle East has all but frozen. The geopolitical and economic implications of this event are vast, stretching far beyond the immediate blast zones of Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, protest movements across Europe and the United States have reignited. Pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli demonstrations are being held in major cities, sometimes resulting in violent clashes and police interventions. Social media platforms are being flooded with conflicting narratives, disinformation campaigns, and digitally altered footage, making it harder for the public to decipher facts from fiction. Governments and tech companies alike are struggling to contain the information war that now runs parallel to the real one. As of today, both sides remain on high alert. While unofficial ceasefire negotiations have been hinted at through back channels involving Turkey and Qatar, no concrete progress has been made. Israel's northern and southern borders remain flashpoints, and the international community fears that one more misstep, one more missile, could ignite a war that drags in the entire region, if not the world. In the coming days, the decisions made by global powers, the military strategies adopted by both Iran and Israel, and the voices of their citizens, many of whom are desperate for peace, will determine whether this remains a tragic episode or marks the beginning of something far more catastrophic. One thing is certain: the attack on Tel Aviv in 2025 will be remembered not just for its destruction, but for what it revealed about the fragility of modern diplomacy, the volatility of the Middle East, and the terrifying ease with which a spark can turn into a firestorm.